Good evening, Fernwood. It is your dumbstruck Dumkopf Neil, and there are deux episodes of Mary Hartman remaining. Yes, this is the penultimate episode from June 30th, 1977. That's episode 324. Yesterday was gut-wrenching, so let's review. Tom Hartman has barely been able to hold it together ever since his wife Mary ran away with Dennis Foley. He gets a visit from his friend Charlie and tries to hide his whiskey as Charlie tells him how much fun he had this morning because he and his wife were able to sneak in some sex. Of course, that's the opposite of what's on Tom's mind, considering he is mourning the relationship that he had for 14 years. And Charlie sees that Tom is in pain, but he has to go to work, so he removes the whiskey bottle from Tom's hands and tells him to buck up. Tom puts on a brave face, which immediately reverts to how he's really feeling once Charlie leaves. He grabs the whiskey bottle and starts addressing his loneliness by talking to the appliances in the kitchen. The stove, the refrigerator. He goes out the kitchen door and yells into the neighborhood if anyone wants to talk to him. He finds a stuffed animal and goes back to the stove and turns the gas on. And either through confusion or specific intent, he opens up the oven, sticks his head in, and blows out the pilot light. And then he passes out. After the commercial break, Martha Shumway, Tom's mother-in-law, comes in with a casserole and thinks at first that Tom is cleaning the oven, but then realizes that he has passed out inside of it. And she uses her experience as a volunteer at the hospital to give him CPR and get him breathing again. She tells Tom how much she cares for him and that he cannot throw his life away, because if he does, she will tell her husband George, and George will kill him. And then we're at the Capri Lounge where Loretta Haggers is rehearsing for her show and also getting a medical test from Dr. Furman. Barth Gimble wants to move the test a little bit faster because he's got things coming. For instance, Charlie Haggers comes with the keys for a car that he has rented. Then the person that Barth was waiting for, Sidney Blumberg, shows up, and he's not impressed with what he sees there. Kathy Shumway, the recipient of the kidney that Loretta is planning to donate, shows up for her test. Then Dr. Furman gets a call, and then he has to make an announcement that Loretta Haggers cannot be a candidate for transplant because she only has one kidney. Apparently, it was removed last year when they needed to get rid of the fibroid tumor that she had. Kathy, on the other hand, is still holding out hope that someone in Fernwood will be willing to donate a kidney to her, as Dr. Furman realizes that Barth Gimble would be the same blood type as his late brother Garth Gimble, and Garth was the only potential candidate that they could think of. Barth tries to discourage the idea, but then Sidney Blumberg says that donating a kidney could make an impact on the American audience, at which point Barth says that he would be happy to donate his. Everyone, this week has really sent me through the ringer, so I guess there's only one thing to do.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Not bad for one semester in shop, huh, Dad?
Yeah, it looks real good, honey.
What are you doing? A manhunt for Mary.
Yeah, I'm sending all these brochures out to law enforcement agencies all throughout the country.
A manhunt.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, do me a favor. You put some of these on windshields on your way to school, okay? Huh? Just in case she's still in town.
You're not getting worked up over this, are you, Dad? Look at us. We're managing okay.
Honey, look, I'm worried about Kathy. She needs Mary's kidney.
She's getting Loretta's kidney.
Yeah, but Mary's is better.
Dad, you gotta forget about better. We gotta learn to live with what is.
What are you saying? Are you saying that I shouldn't be doing that, huh?
I knew it. You are getting worked up.
Honey, I am not getting worked up. I miss your mother, okay? Is that wrong? Huh? I miss her. She happens to be your mother. I mean, don't you feel anything about that?
A lot of good that'll do.
Well, hell, I mean, you can't stop feeling just because it isn't going to do any good.
Who says?
I say so. It's not human not to feel. You can't decide not to feel. You feel what you feel.
When Mary was here, you were feeling lousy. And maybe now when she's gone, look at it this way. If
What?
she's gone, maybe you'll feel better.
How can you say that? Are you kidding? Are you really kidding? How can you say that? How can anybody say that I'm going to feel better, huh? I mean, your mother's gone. I mean, can you understand that? Maybe she'll never be back. I mean, doesn't that matter to you, Heather? Doesn't that matter at all?
Of course it matters to me. Daddy, I'm just trying to help you. Can't you see that, you big jerk? I'm trying to help you. You need help. Can't you see that? I love you, Daddy. But you're being so dumb.
Sweetheart, you really do care, don't you? You care.
Loretta just signed her career away to that big slimy weasel Barth Gimble.
Hey, listen, Charlie, it was real between me and Mary. I'm telling you, it was real, Charlie. It wasn't just a dream, Charlie, you know that?
Relax, I'm not the one that run out on you.
Yeah, but somebody's got to do something, you see, huh? I mean, you're my best friend, right? You got to do something, Charlie. Somebody's got to do something!
Don't take it personally. He's this way with everybody.
You know what? I don't think people should get married. I think they should be like football players. Only sign up for a season or two. Wonder if football players are happy.
That reminds me, have you got any mayonnaise? Martha's covering Kathy's lunch route.
Go ahead, take the mayonnaise. I can't be bothered with mayonnaise. Take it.
Yeah, that's what you say now, but you'll sing a different tune when you got a bologna sandwich in your mouth and you can't swallow it because it's too dry.
Look, I don't care. Take it. I just want to be left alone, okay?
Yeah, look, I got an idea. Grandpa Larkin, why don't everybody just leave Tom and me alone? We got to talk.
No. Leave Tom.
Lee? Okay.
Okay,
let's go.
great.
Let's go.
All right. You don't want us? Okay, fine.
You too. You can go too. Take your mail with you. Go ahead. Hello. What? Yeah. Mom, yeah, he just left. He's got the mail with him, yeah. I'm not angry. I'm miserable. Mom, my kind of misery does not love company.
Well, I'm glad we got to have a moment alone there, Wanda. Been wanting to talk to you. It's getting kind of crowded in here. How'd you like to string up a hammock out and back?
Mother Adeline, how would you like to put a sock in your mouth?
Hey, don't talk to my mama like that.
I can fight my own battles, Mickey Mouse.
Please, look, we're just getting on each other's nerves here now. Let's just try to keep smiles on our faces and be pleasant to each other, okay? That's better. Mother Adeline? Yeah, fine. Now look, let's all try to get along, and above all, let's try to stand behind Merle. Now, he's been going through a very rough time here, and he's desperate and he's miserable.
Hi, gang. How are you?
Early, it ain't healthy to hide your grief that way. Come on, now just face up to the facts. You're through in this town. You're washed up. You're finished.
I know, Mom. I know.
That's why I'm saying it. You're never sure a dog's dead until you kick him a couple times.
Oh, gosh.
America is a funny place. 1 minute you're on top of everything, and the next minute it's like...
I know. They're going to throw me out of office. I know that, darling.
What the hell are you going to do about it, boy?
He's going to do what any elected official would do, cover up.
No, darling. They've got the goods on us. There's nothing left to cover up.
Oh, boy. The end of the proverbial rope.
Oh, now, damn it, Merle. You was always able to convince them she was innocent. Me and Mama wants to get to Washington in time to see them cherry blossom blooming.
Oh, Merle, I got faith in you. I know that you're going to come up with some monstrous lie and turn this whole thing around.
No, wrong, Mom. My lying days are over.
You gonna kill yourself, huh?
I'm going to start telling the truth, Mickey Mouse.
Merle. Ever the funster. Bomo after Bomo.
No, Wanda, I mean it. Tomorrow night at the Capri Lounge at the city council meeting, I'm gonna spill my guts.
Merle, why would you want to go and do a silly thing like that?
Darling, it's the right thing.
Merle's gone nuts.
Believe him. He never spoke an honest word in his life.
Tell you what I'm gonna do, Mom. I'm gonna try to ignore the pain that I get from remarks of yours like that. And just say this to you. That I made a promise to a preacher and an angel today. That I'm coming clean. And say what you will. Merle Jeter never told a lie to no preacher. Or an angel, for that matter.
Do you think he's really serious about all this stuff that he's saying?
We could have gone round the bend. Things don't look good.
Merle, let me ask you this. Have you really thought this over? I mean, it just seems to me that there might be a more efficient way to clear your record than telling the truth.
Tomorrow night is a big one for me. At the Capri Lounge. I'm telling them everything. And I mean the truth about everything. Tomorrow night, come what may, this kid comes clean.
We're through.
Come on, Mama, let's go.
Merle, why don't you change your mind? Think of your poor old mother. Think of my age.
Come on, Mama, let's go. When a politician starts telling the truth, the hooskow ain't far behind.
This is it, huh? All right. Bye, Merle. Bye, Wanda. Mickey, Mo, and me will go into reclusion. Try to forget the scandal you have brought on our family.
Merle, I don't believe it. I mean, this is a stroke of genius. Wow, you got rid of him once and for all. Wow. You know, you really had me going there for a minute. I was beginning to believe that phony and macabre story about your being an honest man.
Darling, I meant every word I said.
Oh, Lordy.
Here you go, pardon. Let me pour you a little sweetener in there.
I don't mind if I do.
You know, I see a certain irony here, you know, Bose, me running into you here like this, and you running into me. On this, the eve of, I think it'll prove probably my greatest public humiliation tomorrow. They're gonna take me out of office.
And me? Maybe about to lose the second of my only two daughters. Hey, Tom.
Hey, how you doing?
Thomas, hey, baby, how are you, man? Sit down there.
Just the three.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Hell for a thunder.
What you doing here?
I was out for a drive. I mean, it's so quiet at home. It's driving me crazy, you know. Hey, Al, give me a Diet Pepsi, will you?
You mean, Mary?
Yeah.
Put that on my tab there. Wait a minute here, Tom. Listen, I know you're a reformed alcoholic and all that. Why don't you have a little drink here with us?
I appreciate it, but, yeah, I will. Give me that Diet Pepsi, Al. You know, the real trouble is, you know, look, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but it's all right. It's all right. I mean, Mary, you know, I miss her so much. I'm lost without her. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. I'm just totally lost without her. My whole life is over. Might as well pack it in.
Buck up, Tom. She's gonna come home. Look at me. I joined the Boogie Zeddies, and now I'm home with my family.
Put that on my tab there, Al.
Thank you, Merle.
You know, speaking from my own self, I lost my first wife. That was Jim and Joe's mother. You guys, of course, never met Lurleen. But she was a wonderful woman. And, of course, that was followed by Jim and Joe's demise. Of course, that goes hand in hand with the condos for Christ. And I hate to say it, but you know, Juan and me, we're still having our ups and downs here. My dreams of presidents are being the president. Of course, that's down the tubes.
Oh,
Hey.
that's the saddest straw I ever heard in my life. If that happened to me, I'd kill myself.
You know what? Just thinking about Foley and Mary being together makes me want to drown myself.
No, wait a minute, Tom. Wait, no. Look at all you've got to live for. Just look at it. You got
A job?
Job? What the hell kind of job I got, huh? Working in an automobile plant, screwing in dome lights, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. For the last 14 years.
14 years?
I'll tell you, boy, sometimes I just want to end it all.
I'll tell you, Tom, I know how you feel.
I'd kill myself, but there'd be nobody left to clean up the plant floor.
Just listen to this. Just think about this for a minute, okay? Listen to me. Think about a precipice, a cliff. And there's a swaying wooden bridge just going like that in the breeze, see? Right over the roaring Fernwood River. It's real peaceful. Quiet. And there I am, see? Just bathed in moonlight. And the weeping willows there on the shore just swaying in the breeze, see? That's it. That's the place. That's where I'm gonna do it, right there. You see? No pills, no poisons, no nooses, no triggers. Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Well, I think it's damn noble, Thomas. Damn noble.
That's it. I'm ready.
Me too. Come on, Merle.
Wait 1 second there, Arabella. Let me get one thing here straight here now. It's gonna be you and me, Bose, helping him bring his life to an end, right?
Right.
I mean, we ain't gonna be doing any jumping, right?
Right.
Count me in.
Praise the jolly fellow. Praise the jolly fellow. Praise the jolly fellow.
Al? Excuse me, but have you seen my father, George Shumway?
Oh, yeah, George. You're not going to believe this. They just went and took Tom Hartman over to Loser's Leap.
Why is Tom going to Loser's Leap?
Oh, to kill himself. Yeah. I mean, do you believe those guys? Anything for a laugh.
Yeah.
Oh. How deep do you think it is down there?
Deep.
Listen.
Good man, Tom.
I'm going to take good care of Heather for you, Tom.
Thanks, George. Thanks. I wonder how cold that water is.
It's cold enough to freeze the monkeys off a bass brawl.
Huh?
Tom, don't even worry about that. You're going to a much better place, partner. I just wondering if you might do me a little favor. If you just happen to bump into numero uno up there, would you just tell him that old Merle Jeter said howdy? Would you do that, Tom?
Okay, Merle, you got it. Yeah.
Now, you think you remember that, or maybe I should write it down for you?
I remember it.
I got a pen right here. I can write it down.
I'll remember it.
I'll write it down.
I'll remember it.
All right, no, Tom, you're the man. Whatever you say.
Tom, you're my favorite son-in-law.
George!
Jesus, George, you're giving me heart failure.
I think I got a hernia. Huh?
Tom. Listen, Bart. Before you leave, I'd just like to tell you about me and Mary. I was very fond of her. But nothing ever happened between the two of us, really. And even if it did, I would never tell you about it.
Thanks, Merle. Thanks.
Merle. Come over here. Merle. Let's let Tom have his moment of glory.
Tom, this is a very brave and great thing you're doing here.
Listen, don't you think I'm being a little too hasty?
No way. No, absolutely not.
No.
Good, okay. Listen, you think I'm doing the right thing here?
I don't think there's any question about it.
Positively.
Really?
Stop!
No, Kathy! Now what are you doing? You ruined it! You ruined it!
She didn't ruin anything.
Yes, she
Come
did.
on,
She
go
ruined
ahead
it.
and jump.
I'm sorry!
It's gone, it's gone!
Tom, you always have to everything that is perfect. Now,
it's
go
gone.
on and jump.
No,
Well,
it's
Kathy,
gone.
I hope you're happy now. You went and ruined Tom's moment of glory.
No. Forget it. It's all over now. What's done is done. It doesn't matter.
Oh, boy, I hope someday he forgives you.
Never mind Tom forgiving. I just hope the big fella forgives you, Kathy.
Hey, don't be so hard on her. She was just doing her best. She was trying.
Yeah, I was just trying to help.
Come on, Kathy. Come on home. I think I'm going to blow.
Tom, not to worry. You'll get another chance, pard. I promise.
I hope so, Merle. I really hope so.
Thank God. Thank God I don't have his guts.
That was too much. Almost too much, because there's still more to go. We start this episode at the Hartman residence with Heather working on that redecoration project, and Tom is putting up posters, sending them out, right? He intends to, even though the Fernwood police think that Mary is not a missing person legally, he's still sending that out, perhaps in the hope that Mary will be able to help Kathy with her kidney. This scene is some of the emotional stuff that Heather needs to process at this point. She still encourages Tom to get over Mary. She doesn't even call her mom. Like, for the last few days, she's been calling her Mary, especially since she's gone missing. She's not mom, she's Mary. Heather, we know her relationship with Mary has been strained at best from episode 1. Some of this, and early commenters would remark that Heather was a monster because of how she treated Mary. If you look at the whole of their relationship, which I think is one of the relationships that has been looked at in this series at least a bit, we see there's also some loathing on Mary's side, that Mary treats Heather in ways that Heather doesn't like, because Heather and Mary just don't understand each other. When Mary says what she feels about Heather to herself in private, there's a sense of loathing there. And Heather, her side is, she doesn't want to admit that she feels pain, that she feels abandoned, that things hurt. And at this point, this is where she lets some of that emotion go. She still doesn't admit how much it hurts, but you can see that pain coming out of how she rails at Tom. Then Grandpa Larkin and Charlie show up to kind of keep us tuned into some of the other events of the series. But that's too much for Tom. He's still in pain. And he sends everyone away, gets a call from Martha, who is asking about the mayonnaise, and he is there left thinking about what is going on in his life and what is there worth living for. And then we're at the Bide-A-Wee Motel, where the Jeters are getting on each other's nerves. Wanda and Adeline and Mickey Mo have been cramped in a very small space for at least a few days. Merle shows up, and he is surprisingly in a good mood. The last time we saw Merle, he was in bed vowing that he would bounce back, and perhaps this is his way of bouncing back, to come clean about all of the things that they've been discovering in the news. Perhaps it's a bit late after someone has discovered your indiscretions and revealed them publicly to then admit them. Nowadays seems a bit weak. I suppose the question is, how much does Merle intend to, he says he wants to come clean, right, but how much does he intend to make amends for the problems that he has been involved in? He has made his peace with folks like Loretta, maybe to some extent Charlie. I'm not sure where things stand with the people of Fernwood. That's something that we have yet to see. One of Merle and Wanda's problems gets resolved here, which is that once Merle says he's coming clean, Adeline and Mickey Mo jump ship, because it doesn't make sense that a politician, much less Merle, would be honest with the public. And I don't know if Merle is going to be a politician after this. Who can tell? The only place we can find out is tomorrow. But before then, we have a really dark set of scenes with Merle and George commiserating. They briefly made friends earlier in the season, and here they are just getting blotto, just getting completely plastered. with the poorest judgment I think either of them has shown in this series. It's their misery party, right? Their time to celebrate how awful things in their lives are. George, of course, having dropped down from, losing his job and failing that invention that he was so eager to get off the ground, and now taking a job as the janitor at the factory where he used to work for so many decades. Of course, we know that Merle is not at his highest point, but then Tom comes in, and Tom is as miserable or more miserable than either of them. And this is where Tom, yesterday he had that self-destructive moment of sticking his head in the oven. Yesterday it was sort of vague, right? Like the things that he was saying did not specifically say, I am intending to kill myself. He didn't write a note. He didn't do any of that activity. It's still self-destructive. It still could have ended with him dying. But you could sort of read that as potentially accidental. I said potentially. It's like temporarily. Today, this is when it turns from potentially accidental to specifically intentional. And Tom is considering ending his life. And there at the Capri, Merle and George have the poor judgment to egg him on. Perhaps because they are also miserable. Perhaps that's part of it. I just can't imagine wanting your friend to end their life, no matter how miserable they were, or how miserable you were. Then we hit Loser's Leap, right? And Kathy asks Big Al where George went, and he tells them, and then we are there at Loser's Leap. And we have, in the course of Good Evening Fernwood, addressed suicide a number of times. The first time when I was watching in episodes 1 through 60, right, the May Olinsky storyline, and then later when Charlie contemplates it after the mishaps of his trip to New Jersey. And at those points, it came up that one of my gigs is working with CIT, Crisis Intervention Team, as a trainer for police in how to deal with folks who are having mental health crises. Suicide being a really major portion of that. And it's not comfortable. It's painful. In the time that I have been doing that job, I've done my best to get more knowledgeable about it and done my best to listen to people's stories. And I've named this person Kevin Hines, who is a suicide prevention speaker that tells his story of surviving his suicide attempt after jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge. And his story really resonated with me, as I know someone who ended his life the same way. The thing that in this scene stuck out to me, and why I'm bringing up Kevin Hines right now, was that look in Tom's eyes as he looked down the precipice. When he looked off of there and considered what it would mean. For Kevin, there was the moment in his story that after he'd made the jump and passed the point of no return, there was no grabbing the bridge at that point. He knew he did not want to die. And that's the thing, right? Because you make a choice and then it's too late. And you don't know what you really wanted. You're just looking for a way to end your pain. Except, perhaps, once it's too late, you realize how different things could be. And things you didn't think about before you made the choice. Kevin Hines is lucky to have survived that jump. And for those who are moved by his story, we're lucky to have him share it. When we're with Tom, we see him there at Loser's Leap, really, really hesitant to make this jump. And only because stupid Merle and stupid George are there with their drunk and impaired judgment? Does he even have the inkling that he actually wants to do it? Because it looks like something that he is scared to do. And they, for some reason, think that it's noble and that he's brave for doing it. And maybe that's not really what people, your friends, would say. Maybe this represents Tom really going to the abyss in his mind and thinking himself that this is what... Maybe Merle and George are giving voice to the elements in your mind that tell you that this is what's right to do, right? Because otherwise it would be Tom speaking to himself. But Tom is lucky that he had someone to look out for him, and that was Kathy. Kathy gets told off by Merle and George for some reason. I just can't imagine being a friend and wanting your friend to end their life. That's absurd to me. But Kathy reached out and chased Tom. So we have one episode of Mary Hartman left, and this week Tom has been processing a lot of emotions. I don't know what's going to happen to any of our characters. Kathy, maybe she will have this transplant. Maybe Barth will be the person to give it to her. Maybe Loretta will be able to get out of this awful contract with Barth. Maybe Tom will figure out how to deal with his emotions. Maybe Merle coming clean with the public will give him some positive direction in his life to move. Maybe Mary will visit once to help save Kathy's life. I don't know. I can only speculate at this point, and I hate to speculate. So those are the things that are ahead of us. For now, it is time for us to address the question of the week, and that, which I asked in January, was, what is your takeaway from having watched the entire series of Mary Hartman? And part 2, of course, was, what are shows that you would recommend to folks who enjoyed this show? Our response today is from Janet's 9179, and here it is. My takeaway from this series is how much our lives are shaped or were shaped by television and pop culture. We take our cues from television and magazine articles about the things we should be concerned with. Is my coffee good enough? Does my floor have waxy yellow buildup? Does my sex life measure up? Also, this series is funny, well-written, unpredictable, and has a lot of good acting. This show has a satirical bent which criticizes the way that we are trained by pop culture to behave. Mary Hartman, if we look at only that character, who is, of course, the title character, the titular character of this series, the main point of view that we spend time with on this show is Mary. And even in episode 1, we see her being completely overwhelmed by waxy yellow buildup, and her look at the universe is informed by magazine articles and soap operas, and occasionally trips to the library to improve her sex life. There are complex and rich characters throughout this show, as Janet points out. There's some really wonderful acting. The writing goes from silly to poignant to thought-provoking all throughout. If we were to look at Mary's arc alone, there's a lot going on there. She is bombarded with this information which I feel is even more pervasive today. It's not only magazines, newspaper, TV. We also have social media, and that's a really major effector of how we as people are feeling. And if I were to look at this as having a moral, maybe, is that we need to be looking at our emotions and having a place to talk about them. Now, I will not promise to field every single viewer's emotions, but I hope that if you're watching, that you will take the time to find a place. Finding a place to talk about your emotions is hard. We were talking about Tom earlier, and Tom Hartman did look for help in his own life earlier in season 1, and it didn't go well. He was looking for someone to talk to about his own life, and also someone to understand what was going on in his marriage. And when he went to the therapy available at his work, the advice was horrible, and it didn't make sense to him. And finding someone that you connect to in that way, a therapist, for instance, is hard work. You're lucky if you find that needle in the haystack. That is the person that you can talk to, but this show says a lot for that. This show says you should be looking, I think. If Mary Hartman doesn't say it, then I say it. You should be looking for someone that can listen to you, that can give you a place to say what you need to say. And that's what Mary Hartman, I think, maybe finds. We can only speculate about that. But first, we have Janet's 9179's second part. A movie I recommend is Being There with Peter Sellers. It's a story of an innocent adult man who has been sheltered all his life and whose knowledge of the world is only from what he sees on television. I think sometimes my point of view and the way I behave in the world was more informed by television than almost anything else. So I feel like I've never seen Being There, and I guess if we had a movie watching night, that would be one to add to the list. I feel like I might relate to Peter Sellers in that way. That goes from like the way that listening to Beatles songs affected the way that I felt about love and how I should approach someone that I had interest in. That goes for the way that I feel like we should deal with people in our world. And I hope that I am more mature now. I have to imagine I'm more mature than I was when I was a teenager, thinking that my life should feel like a 3-act structure of a film, right? Like I'm the good guy that's sort of put upon, and then maybe the lesson there is that we learn to bounce back and we keep moving forward. Everyone, I don't know what to expect for tomorrow. Like, we've already gone through the list of what ifs and things that still need to be resolved before this series ends. It's a pretty hefty list. And, at this point, I can only say that I am very eager to see what's going to happen. So for now, I will thank you for watching with me. I will thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. I will thank you for joining us for these final deux episodes of Mary Hartman. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.